The massive alien ship appeared above Earth without warning. It broke through the darkness of space like a knife cutting through black cloth, its hull gleaming with strange purple lights. Earth's defense systems detected it just as it passed Mars' orbit, but by then, it was too late to do anything but watch. Admiral James Stone stood in the Global Defense Command Center, his weathered face illuminated by the countless screens showing the alien vessel's approach. At 62, he had seen humanity reach for the stars, establish colonies on Mars, and build their first faster-than-light ships. But this was different. "Sir," his second-in-command, Captain Rogers, spoke up. "The alien vessel is broadcasting on all frequencies." Stone nodded, his gray eyes fixed on the main screen. "Let's hear what they have to say." The message came through in perfect English, a fact that made Stone's skin crawl. They had been watching Earth long enough to learn their languages. "People of Earth," the voice was deep and mechanical. "You stand in the presence of the NIGMA Empire, rulers of 1,000 worlds, and masters of the galaxy's eastern arm. Your primitive civilization has been deemed worthy of our attention. Consider this an honor." Stone's hands tightened into fists. 20 years in the military had taught him that anyone who started a conversation by calling you primitive usually didn't have your best interests in mind. The voice continued. "We have observed your species' rapid technological growth. While impressive for primitives, you remain centuries behind our advancement. We offer you a choice. Join our empire as willing servants or face extinction. You have 30 Earth days to submit your response." The message ended, leaving the command center in silence. "Well," Stone said, breaking the tension, "at least they gave us a month to think about it." But he wasn't joking. Behind his calm exterior, his mind was racing. The NIGMA Empire had made two serious mistakes. First, they had revealed their existence before they were ready to strike. Second, they had greatly underestimated humanity's true capabilities. What the NIGMA Empire didn't know, what no one outside Earth's top military command knew, was that humanity wasn't as primitive as they appeared. Hidden bases on Europa, and deep under Earth's oceans, held technologies that would make the NIGMA Empire's ships look like ancient sailing vessels. Stone turned to Captain Rogers. "Call an emergency meeting of the United Defense Council, and get me direct links to our hidden facilities. All of them." The next 24 hours were a blur of activity. Representatives from Earth's nations gathered in the underground bunker beneath Geneva. Military commanders shared intel, scientists presented their assessments of NIGMA technology based on scans of their ship, and strategy experts began forming plans. Stone stood before them all, his voice steady as he delivered his report. "The NIGMA Empire believes they're dealing with a civilization that just figured out how to reach Mars. They don't know about Project Phoenix. They don't know about our quantum shield technology. And they certainly don't know about the Gray Protocol." The room fell silent at the mention of the Gray Protocol. It was humanity's darkest secret, a weapon so powerful it had never been tested, only theorized. "We have two choices," Stone continued. "We can show them our true strength now and hope they back down, or we can play weak and let them make the first move." The council debated for hours, but in the end, they reached a unanimous decision. They would give the NIGMA Empire one chance, one warning, before showing them why humanity had survived countless wars, disasters, and challenges that should have wiped them out. As Stone left the council chamber, he looked at the latest image of the NIGMA ship hovering above Earth. "You picked the wrong species to threaten," he muttered. "Let's hope you're smart enough to realize that before it's too late." 3 days after the NIGMA Empire's ultimatum, Admiral Stone sat in his office, reviewing the final draft of Earth's response. On his desk sat a small black cube, a NIGMA communication device they had sent down after their initial message. It hummed softly, waiting to transmit Earth's surrender. They were about to get something very different. "Are we ready?" Stone asked, looking at the team assembled in his office. "Dr. Wells, Earth's leading historian, nodded nervously. General Martinez, head of military archives, gave a firm yes. Stone picked up the cube. It was time to educate the NIGMA Empire about who they were threatening. The cube projected a hologram of the NIGMA ambassador, a tall, gray-skinned being with 4 eyes and metallic implants covering half its face. "Have you come to accept our generous offer?" Stone smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. "No, we've come to give you a history lesson." He pressed a button, and the data transfer began. First came images of World War I, soldiers fighting in trenches, facing poison gas, refusing to give up even in the worst conditions. Then World War II, cities rebuilt from ashes, scientists racing to develop new technologies, ordinary people showing extraordinary courage. Humanity, Stone explained, has been fighting wars since we learned to pick up sticks. Each time, we didn't just survive. We got stronger. The images continued. The Cold War, showing how humans had lived for decades under the threat of total nuclear destruction, and still kept advancing. The climate wars of the 2030s, where humanity faced extinction from nature itself, and won. The Mars colony crisis, where 3,000 colonists survived 2 years cut off from Earth by creating new technologies from scraps. Every time someone tried to wipe us out, Stone continued, we came back harder, smarter, more determined. The NIGMA ambassador's upper eyes blinked in what might have been confusion. This primitive violence does not impress us. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. That's the problem, Stone replied. You conquer, we survive. And there's a big difference between the two. He shared more recent data. The development of quantum shielding, though he labeled it as theoretical research, plans for weapons that could shut down entire power grids, marked as failed experiments. A small taste of humanity's true capabilities, disguised as unsuccessful projects. We're sending you this warning because, unlike you, we don't want unnecessary bloodshed, Stone said. We don't start wars, we finish them. Ask yourself, if this is what we achieved while fighting ourselves, what will we do when we unite against an outside threat? The ambassador's metallic implants glowed brightly. You dare to threaten the NIGMA Empire? Threaten? Stone shook his head. No, this isn't a threat. It's a warning. From one sentient species to another, the choice of what happens next is yours. He sent one final file, a detailed analysis of how quickly humans had gone from horse-drawn carriages to space travel, from simple flight to breaking the sound barrier, from basic computers to artificial intelligence. You've given us 30 days, Stone said. I suggest you spend that time studying what we've sent you. Really think about whether you want to go to war with a species that turned its own planet into a nuclear wasteland, and then cleaned it up and made it better than before. The ambassador's hologram flickered. We will review your response. After the transmission ended, General Martinez turned to Stone. Do you think they'll listen? Stone walked to his window, looking up at the stars where the NIGMA ship waited. I hope they do, because if they don't, he touched the hidden command panel in his pocket, the one connected to humanity's real defense systems. If they don't, then they're about to learn why every potential invasion force that's ever scanned Earth turned around and left. And if they attack anyway? Stone's expression hardened. Then we'll give them a practical demonstration of everything I just showed them. And God help them if we have to do that. The NIGMA Empire waited exactly 15 days before they decided to teach humanity a lesson. Their massive warship moved away from Earth, and for a brief moment, everyone in the Global Defense Command thought they might have listened to the warning. They were wrong. The attack came at midnight Mars time. A bright purple beam shot from the NIGMA ship, striking the main Mars colony dome. The energy blast shattered the protective shields, the public ones, at least, and tore through the colony's outer layer. Admiral Stone watched in horror as the emergency signals from 50,000 colonists went dark. His hands gripped the command console so hard his knuckles turned white. "Sir," Captain Rogers' voice was shaking. "We're receiving a transmission from the NIGMA ship." The ambassador's hologram appeared, all four eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "Consider this a demonstration of our power. Your Mars colony has been eliminated. This is but a fraction of our capabilities. Do you still refuse to surrender?" Stone looked at the screen showing Mars, at the burning remnants of what had been humanity's first major colony. Then he did something that confused the ambassador. He smiled. "Thank you," Stone said quietly. "You express gratitude for your defeat." The ambassador's metallic implants pulsed with confusion. "No," Stone replied. "I'm thanking you for proving what we already knew. You're not here to make peace. You never were." He pressed a button on his console. "And now we don't have to pretend anymore." Suddenly, alarms blared on the NIGMA ship. Their sensors were picking up energy signatures, hundreds of them, thousands of them, rising from Earth, from the moon's dark side, from hidden bases on Mars itself. "Impossible," the ambassador whispered. The first wave of Earth's true fleet dropped their stealth fields. Sleek black ships, far more advanced than anything humanity had publicly shown, moved into attack formation. Leading them was the EDS Vengeance, Stone's real flagship. "Did you really think," Stone asked, "that we put all our people in one unprotected dome? The Mars colony you just hit was a decoy. The real colonies are underground. Have been for years." The ambassador's hologram flickered as reports flooded in. Human ships were appearing everywhere, their technology far beyond what the NIGMA Empire had believed possible. "Those 50,000 signals you thought you killed," Stone continued. "Automated systems, meant to fool exactly this kind of attack. A trick we learned from our own wars." Stone stood up, his voice cold. "You had your chance to listen. We showed you our history. We warned you about what happens when humanity is pushed into a corner. Now, let us show you what we can really do." The EDS Vengeance fired first. A quantum torpedo. Technology the NIGMA Empire had thought was centuries away from human development, struck their warship's shields. The purple barrier that had protected them flickered and died. "Impossible," the ambassador shouted. "Your species cannot have this technology." "We have a lot of things you thought we couldn't have," Stone replied. "Would you like to see more?" The human fleet moved in perfect formation, their black hulls absorbing all light, making them look like moving pieces of space itself. Each ship was a testament to humanity's real technological level, one they had hidden for decades, preparing for exactly this kind of threat. "This is your last chance," Stone offered. "Withdraw your forces. Leave our solar system. Never return." The ambassador's hologram straightened, pride overcoming fear. "The NIGMA Empire does not retreat. You may have better technology than we expected, but we still rule 1,000 worlds. This means war." Stone's expression didn't change. "No," he said softly. "This means you didn't learn anything from the history we showed you." He turned to his real bridge crew aboard the Vengeance. "All ships, battle formation Delta. Show them why humanity's survival rate against extinction-level threats is 100%. The space around Mars lit up with weapons fire. The war had begun. Operation Thunderbolt began 3 hours after the NIGMA Empire's attack on Mars. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of the EDS Vengeance, watching as Earth's hidden fleet moved through the quantum gates, another technology humanity had kept secret. "All ships report ready," Captain Rogers announced from his station on the Vengeance. "The AI combat systems are fully online." Stone nodded. The NIGMA Empire hadn't just underestimated human technology. They'd underestimated how far humanity had gone with artificial intelligence. Every human ship carried an AI core, making them faster and more deadly than any purely organic crew could manage. "Show me their closest military base," Stone ordered. The main screen lit up, showing a massive space station orbiting a red dwarf star. The NIGMA Empire had built it to protect their border worlds. They thought it was impenetrable. They were wrong about that too. "Launch the nano-probes," Stone commanded. Tiny black dots, invisible to normal sensors, shot out from the human fleet. These were among humanity's most advanced weapons, microscopic machines that could eat through any material and multiply themselves using the consumed matter. The NIGMA Empire didn't even notice as the nanoprobes landed on their station's hull. "Sir," one of the bridge officers called out, "we're detecting NIGMA reinforcements. 5 capital ships approaching through their FTL lanes." Stone smiled. "Right on schedule. Deploy the quantum net." Space itself seemed to ripple as hidden satellites activated. The NIGMA ships burst out of their faster-than-light travel and found themselves trapped in a web of quantum energy that shut down their engines. "They're sending out distress calls," Rogers reported. "Good," Stone said. "Let them call for help. Let them tell their empire what's coming." The nanoprobes had done their work. Sections of the NIGMA station began falling apart, its once mighty hull being consumed from within. Panic spread through the station. As their sensors finally detected the invasion they couldn't stop. The NIGMA commander's face appeared on the screen. Unlike the ambassador, this alien's implants covered most of his head. "What sorcery is this?" he demanded. "Not sorcery," Stone replied calmly. "Just good old human ingenuity. The same ingenuity you dismissed when we warned you about starting this fight." The station's defenses tried to activate. Energy beams shot out at the human fleet, but they passed harmlessly through quantum shields that operated on principles the NIGMA Empire hadn't even discovered yet. "All ships," Stone ordered, "begin Phase 2. The human fleet split into perfect formation. Each ship knew its role, guided by AIs that could think faster than any organic brain. They struck with weapons that seemed impossible, beams that ignored shields by passing through quantum space, missiles that could think and adapt to any countermeasure, and fields that simply shut down any technology they touched. "The station's core is destabilizing," Rogers reported. "They're evacuating." Stone watched as escape pods launched from the dying station. Each one was tracked but allowed to escape. Humanity wasn't here to kill unnecessarily, just to make a point. "Send the message," Stone ordered. Every surviving NIGMA ship and escape pod received the same transmission. "This was your strongest border station. It fell in less than an hour. We control this sector now. Consider this a small demonstration of what happens when you ignore humanity's warnings." The station exploded, its pieces scattering across space. The quantum net released the trapped NIGMA ships, letting them flee back to their empire with news of what had happened. "Sir," Rogers said, "what's our next target?" Stone looked at the map showing NIGMA Empire territory, their shipyards in the Proxima sector, then their fuel refineries in the Centauri system. "We'll dismantle their military capability piece by piece until they realize what we tried to tell them from the start." He turned to face his crew. "They thought they were punishing us by attacking Mars. Instead, they just gave us permission to show the galaxy why humanity has survived every threat we've ever faced." The human fleet moved forward, their black ships disappearing into quantum gates. The real war was just beginning. After losing 30 military bases in just 2 weeks, the NIGMA Empire finally revealed their ultimate weapons. 3 massive ships emerged from deep space, each one larger than a small moon. These were their planet killers, ships designed to destroy entire worlds. Admiral Stone watched them approach Earth on the Vengeance's main screen. The NIGMA ships moved slowly, their huge engines pushing them through space like giant purple clouds of death. "They're broadcasting, sir," Captain Rogers said, "to every human settlement and ship." The NIGMA Supreme Commander appeared on screen. Unlike the other aliens they'd seen, this one was almost entirely machine, with only a small part of his original face still visible. "Humans," the commander's voice boomed. You have forced us to take extreme measures. These are the world enders. Each one can destroy a planet. Surrender now, or watch your worlds burn." Stone looked at his tactical display. The NIGMA commander couldn't see his small smile. Everything was going exactly as expected. "Sir," Rogers whispered, "should we activate the shield network?" "Not yet," Stone replied. "Let them get closer. Let them think they have us." The world enders moved into position around Earth. Their massive weapons began to power it up, purple energy building in waves that distorted space itself. "One last chance, humans," the NIGMA commander announced. "Kneel or die." Stone pressed a button on his chair. "Actually," he said, "we'd like to show you something first." Suddenly, hundreds of small satellites around Earth activated. They had been there for decades, hidden by technology even the NIGMA Empire couldn't detect. Each one began generating a quantum field. "What is this?" the commander demanded. "Insurance," Stone replied. "Did you really think we wouldn't have a way to protect our planets? We've been preparing for threats like you for over 100 years." The world enders fired. 3 purple beams of energy, each powerful enough to crack a planet's core, struck Earth's atmosphere and bounced off. The quantum shield network created a perfect bubble around Earth. The deadly energy beams reflected back into space, harmlessly dissipating among the stars. "Impossible," the commander shouted. "No civilization at your level should have this technology." "That's been your problem from the start," Stone said. "You keep thinking you know what level we're at. You keep thinking you understand what humans are capable of." The NIGMA Empire had one more trick. From their world enders, they launched clouds of nanites, biological weapons designed to consume all organic matter they touched. Stone pressed another button. Released the medical eye swarms. Small dots of light emerged from Earth's atmosphere. These were humanity's own nanobots, controlled by advanced medical artificial intelligence. They met the NIGMA biological weapons in space, analyzing and destroying them in seconds. "You see," Stone explained as the commander watched in horror, "every weapon you're using, we've already thought about. Every attack you're trying, we've already planned for. Because that's what humans do. We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best." The world enders tried to retreat, but it was too late. Quantum torpedoes from Earth's fleet struck their engines, leaving them stranded in space. "Your empire made 3 mistakes," Stone said to the commander. "First, you threatened us. Second, you ignored our warning. And third, worst of all, you thought that just because we hadn't shown our true strength, it meant we didn't have it." The commander's mostly mechanical face showed the first signs of real fear. "What are you?" "We're human," Stone replied simply. "We're what happens when a species spends its entire history trying to kill itself, and instead of dying, gets stronger every time." He turned to his crew. "Disable their weapons. Take their crews prisoner. And send word to all human forces. Operation Final Warning is now in effect." The battle for Earth was over, but the war was about to enter its final, devastating phase. The human fleet emerged from quantum space at the edge of the NIGMA Empire's home system. 6,000 ships, their black hulls absorbing all light, formed up around the EDS Vengeance. Admiral Stone stood at his command station, looking at the massive purple sun that powered the Empire's capital worlds. "Report," he ordered. 7 planets, sir," Captain Rogers replied. 3 of them heavily populated. Their orbital defenses are extensive. Stone studied the tactical display. The NIGMA Empire had built rings of battle stations around their core worlds. Millions of defensive satellites filled the space between them. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible to breach. But these weren't normal circumstances. "Sir," a junior officer called out, "we're picking up strange readings from the 3rd planet. Billions of life signs, but they're different from the NIGMA we've encountered." Stone's eyes narrowed. "Show me." The main screen displayed images of the planet's surface. What they saw made even veteran officers gasp. Vast cities stretched across the continent, but they weren't filled with the cybernetically enhanced NIGMA they'd fought. Instead, dozens of different alien species worked in massive factories and mines, all under the watch of NIGMA overseers. Slaves, Stone said quietly. Their whole empire is built on slave labor. A transmission cut through their observations. The NIGMA Supreme Commander's mostly mechanical face appeared on screen. "You have breached the heart of our empire," he announced. "Surely now you see our true power. Surrender, and we may still show mercy." Stone looked at the enslaved worlds, at the billions of beings trapped under NIGMA rule. Then he smiled, not a pleasant smile, but one that made even his own crew nervous. "Release the dimensional probes," he ordered. Tiny points of light shot out from the human fleet, passing straight through the NIGMA defenses as if they weren't there. The probes were humanity's most advanced scouts, capable of passing through different dimensions to gather intelligence. Within minutes, they had the full picture, not just of the NIGMA's defenses, but of their entire society. "Sir," Rogers reported, "we found their control centers. Each slave species has a central implant network keeping them in line. If we shut it down—" "Do it," Stone commanded. Quantum signals pulsed from the human fleet, targeting specific frequencies across the NIGMA systems. On the planet below, millions of control implants suddenly went dark. The slaves began to realize they were free. The NIGMA commander's face showed real panic for the first time. "What have you done?" "We've done what humanity has always done," Stone replied. "We've freed the oppressed. You could have been our allies. Instead, you chose to be tyrants." The NIGMA defense grid came alive, thousands of weapons targeting the human fleet. But before they could fire, another signal went out from Stone's ships. Every weapon platform, every battle station, every defense satellite suddenly lost power. The dimensional probes had mapped their entire network, allowing human eye to shut them down with surgical precision. "Your empire is built on slavery and fear," Stone continued. "But we learned long ago that fear only works until people stop being afraid. Your slaves aren't afraid anymore." Across the system, ships piloted by freed aliens were rising from the planets. The NIGMA's own subjects were turning against them. The commander's transmission became frantic. "Wait. We can negotiate. We can." Stone cut him off. "You had your chance to negotiate. When we warned you. When we showed you our history. When we demonstrated our power. Now you get to learn the hardest lesson humanity ever learned." He turned to his crew. "All ships, advance. Free every slave. Disable every NIGMA ship. Today, we show the galaxy why you should never push humanity to its limits." The Black Fleet moved forward, bringing liberty and retribution in equal measure. The NIGMA Empire was about to face its final hours. The NIGMA Empire's throne world hung in space like a purple jewel, its cities gleaming with artificial light. This was their last stronghold, where the Empire's ruling council had retreated after losing their other worlds. They had gathered every remaining ship, every weapon, and every soldier for one final stand. Admiral Stone stood on the Vengeance's bridge, looking at the massive defense fleet ahead of them. The NIGMA had even recalled their cybernetic enhancement facilities, huge space stations where they turned their own people into war machines. "They've activated their doomsday protocol," Captain Rogers reported. "They're forcibly cybernetically enhancing their entire remaining population, turning them all into soldiers." Stone shook his head sadly. "Even now, they still don't understand." The NIGMA Supreme Commander's face appeared on screen one last time. His mechanical parts had spread, leaving only a single organic eye visible. "You may have freed our slaves," he snarled, "but you cannot defeat us here. Every NIGMA who remains will fight to the death. Our species will never surrender." "You still think this is about surrender?" Stone replied quietly. You still don't understand what we've been trying to tell you from the beginning. He pressed a button on his command console, activating the Gray Protocol, humanity's most closely guarded weapon. Quantum pulses rippled out from the human fleet, passing through shields and hulls as if they weren't there. Everywhere the pulses touched, technology simply stopped. The NIGMA ships went dark. Their cybernetic enhancements shut down. Every piece of advanced technology they'd built their empire on ceased to function. What? What have you done? The commander's voice came through on emergency power, his mechanical parts now lifeless metal. We gave you a choice, Stone explained. We warned you about humanity's history, about how we survive, about what happens when someone pushes us too far. You chose not to listen. Across the throne world, NIGMA citizens found themselves suddenly free of their cybernetic controls. The empire that had forced evolution through technology was being forcibly returned to its natural state. The Gray Protocol doesn't kill, Stone continued. It doesn't destroy. It simply resets. Every piece of technology more advanced than basic electronics within this star system has been shut down permanently. The commander's mostly mechanical body was now just dead weight. You've destroyed our civilization. No, Stone corrected him. We've ended your empire. Your civilization, your species, will survive, but you'll have to rebuild it the way humanity did. Slowly, naturally, without enslaving others. Rescue ships from the freed worlds were already moving in, offering help to the now powerless NIGMA population. Many of the alien species they had once enslaved were showing more mercy than the NIGMA had ever shown them. All NIGMA worlds will be under the protection of the Terran Alliance, Stone announced to the entire system. You will be given food, medical care, and basic supplies. You will be helped to rebuild a peaceful society, but you will never again have the power to enslave or destroy other worlds. He turned to his crew. Send word to Earth. The war is over. Captain Rogers looked at the sensor readings of the powerless NIGMA civilization. Sir, do you think they'll learn this time? Stone watched as the former slaves helped evacuate NIGMA citizens from their failing cybernetic enhancement chambers. They'll learn the same way humanity did, through hardship, through having to work together to survive, through building instead of conquering. The NIGMA empire was extinct, but its people would live on, humbled, reduced, but with a chance to become something better. It was, Stone reflected, the most human ending possible. Not total destruction, but a forced opportunity for redemption. Set course for Earth, he ordered. And let this be a lesson to any other empires out there. When humanity warns you, listen. The Black Fleet turned away from the fallen empire, leaving behind a changed galaxy, and the legend of how humanity had ended an empire without destroying a species.